Hi, it's Pete Devine, Yosemite Conservancy naturalist, looking at birds in my neighborhood this mid-April morning in El Portal, not far from Yosemite Conservancy's office. We're at about 2,000 feet elevation. The day is warming up as the sun comes around, and I've seen a mix of year-round residents here so far and a few migratory species that have shown up. But either way, whether resident or migratory, all the birds are putting a lot more energy out in the world with their song and their liveliness. And that's because there's more energy in the ecosystem this time of year. That's really what spring is the return of life after the cold and the dark of the wintertime. We had sort of a dry winter this year, but at least some moisture added into the ecosystem of California and the Sierra Nevada. And so that means plant growth, but the main thing for plant growth is the longer days and the warmth. So we have this really outburst of this kind of thing with all these lupins that are here and the fiddlenecks, and there's some clover down underneath here and some miner's lettuce. Here's a I like this one. Here's a plant named after a bird, cranesbill or storksbill, that erodium, little pink geranium that you see all over the state, really. Uh, so we remember why we have seasons. It's the tilt of the Earth's axis. And at this point in the Earth's orbit around the sun, the northern hemisphere is pointing more and more and more toward the sun during the daytime. So our days are longer, which gives the sun time to warm up the atmosphere and the surface of the Earth. And also the rays of sun are coming in more directly at the northern hemisphere instead of sort of skimming by at a, oh, there's white-throated swifts overhead, insectivores. So we have more heat and more light, and that means more plant growth. And plant growth in many cases becomes bird food in terms of flowers and fruits and seeds and leaves. And so here's our live oak with brand new leaves come out. This is a sign of more energy in the ecosystem. But I think almost more important than the plant material itself is the insects that feed on the plant life. So eggs that were laid last fall or summer are hatching now with the warmth. So those caterpillars, etc., can eat all this green foliage that we have. And then birds can come and eat the caterpillars, the flying insects like midges, flies, butterflies, moths, mosquitoes. It is a great time of year to be a bird. There's not only enough energy in the system for a bird to feed itself, but there's surplus so that a male bird can share food with a mate to establish and to reinforce that pair bond. And not only that, there's enough energy to raise a whole family. This is why birds migrate here, is not because it's too cold in the winter, it's because there's no food. Right now there's a abundance of food. I'm hearing a Steller's jay, and I'm hearing the California scrub jay, both of them here in this transition zone. So enough energy to raise a whole family here. Birds know the same things people know, that Yosemite is a great place for a family in the summertime. Donors to Yosemite Conservancy have funded some really valuable research on birds in the park, with really a long baseline study of birds and their family lives, their family productivity. How many kids are born each year and how many survive to come back and reproduce the next year. Also research on owls and how forest fires affect owls and other birds, peregrine falcon and their nest monitoring. Really a lot of useful stuff that Conservancy donors have had a hand in helping the birds here. I hear acorn woodpeckers now. I just heard a black-throated gray warbler. That is a bird that was not here yesterday. It has just flown in from somewhere hundreds or maybe thousands of miles to the south of us to establish a territory. Really, like, welcome to the Sierra Nevada. Welcome back, black-throated gray warbler. That is so exciting when a new migrant shows up. on their territory. And that's a bird that we'll, watch your step, Pete, a bird that we'll be hearing all summer in the live oaks in El Portal and in Yosemite Valley. Wow. So you may notice we're hearing more birds than we're seeing, and that's typical, especially this time of year when there's so much bird song. Hearing the California towhee, this little tink, 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 like a little blacksmith working a little tiny anvil. So human brain has an incredible capacity for sensory understanding, and it's a great challenge, I think, fun for a naturalist to learn bird songs. If you've got a strong bird watcher friend with a strong skill for identifying little sounds coming out of the bushes, it can be kind of impossible seeming, but we know we have those skills. I mean, there are people that can tell a football player by how he runs on the screen, can tell who it is, or how a basketball player makes a layup, identifies that person, or from a mile away they can tell how Simone Biles works a floor routine. There's the acorn woodpeckers, and maniacal laughter. So learning the bird songs, it's similar. We have that capacity for learning those details. The way you would never mistake Beyonce's voice for Pink's voice, you would never mistake a McGillivray's warbler for a yellow-rumped warbler in their song. There's the northern flicker, another one of our woodpeckers that is a year-round resident. Those woodpeckers really don't migrate too much. And we've got a Nuttall's woodpecker too, our smallest woodpecker down here in the live oak woodlands. At any rate, we hope it won't be long till your family gets to act on what these birds already know, that this place is a great spot for families, that coming to Yosemite is the place for people to explore, to be made whole. So I hope it won't be too long till you're back here in the park.